All right, and here we are. It is Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. Wayne Shirk says, "Let's go, my friend." Patty Grimes says, "What's up? Me and my family finally back from Arizona." Mark Mallet with Super Bowl or Bust. I have my buddy, the Wise Bearded Dad, and I also have Kneecap Villain Keegan.
Hi
We're
guys.
here to talk some Lions talk. I have a couple topics for us tonight, and I'd love for to get your opinions.
How's it going?
All right, Jeff Okuda was traded to Atlanta. Does this mean CB is now a day one priority? Jared, what do you think?
I don't know if it's necessarily a day one, but if it is, I'd take it maybe at the 18th pick or early in the second round.
Okay. So that would be day two. Okay, so either late day one or early day two.
Exactly.
Keegan?
Uh, I think it's a cornerback is a day two priority.
Okay. Well, if it's a. Oh, look at this. Felicity Jean comes in and says, "Keep it up, Jeremy." Ah, love it when women tell me that. That being said, here's what I'm thinking. At 18, I would love to see us draft Cam Smith out of South Carolina. Big size corner, nice speed, would be an excellent complementary piece to Cam Sutton. And then you could call the secondary the dual overhead cams.
Cam Smith is one of my favorite cornerback prospects because he's one of those ones that's not widely talked about, like Joey Porter or Gonzalez. But I think he's going to be
Or
one of the better
Witherspoon.
NFL ones, or Witherspoon for that matter. Yeah,
In mocks, I've seen him fall to like mid second.
Who?
Smith.
Yeah, I've seen him fall that far too. And we got a couple more. We got Wayne Short. Lots of value later for CB. Will Anderson and Cam Smith. I don't think Will Anderson's going to be there. I think the Seahawks take him at 5. This is, I'll just give you my way too early top 5 prediction. Either the Titans or Commanders trade up to 3. Arizona wants out of it because they don't want to take anybody that early because they're cash strapped because of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Oh, we just got another guy in. It's Dan Leonard. And there he is, Dan.
Hey, Ladder.
Yeah, you're on here. About damn time.
hey, I'm a busy man.
Yeah, I know. How you been, bud?
I'm alive.
Okay. The first topic I want your opinion. I said that the with them trading Okuda, I think cornerback has became a day one priority. And I like Cam Smith at 18. What do you think, Dan Leonard?
Man, a few words. I like it.
He's having issues. I will come back to him. That being said, we got a couple comments that came in. Mark Mallet, I'll be so goddamn stoked about whoever Mahomes chooses to draft. Man, you're having connection issues, aren't you, Dan? And then Patty Grimes says, I think Seattle goes for Carter. I think he's gonna, my top 5 up front is going to be CJ Stroud 1, Bryce Young 2. If that trade happens, it'll be Anthony Richardson at 3, Will Levis at 4, and Will Anderson at 5, which means we'll have our choice. And this is my 3 guys that I like the best at that point is going to be Carter, Tyree Wilson, or Miles Murphy. Because all 3 of those guys are considered in the top 10 pick. Does anybody disagree with those analogies?
I don't disagree with that, and I think that's probably how the draft's going to play out for the first 5 picks, assuming that unless Seattle does something outside the box and takes Carter, because they do need defensive tackle help, and if he's there, they might make that move.
I just don't think they want him at 5. It just with what happened, and everything that's came out about him not liking practice, and Pete Carroll tries to run a tight ship at practices. Because remember, even DK Metcalf got sat down one week because he didn't come to practice mid-season.
Oh yeah.
I like that top 5, but I don't see any teams trading up for Will Levis. If he falls to a team that wants him, they'll take him.
Yep, I agree. Brian Cushion says, "Hey fellas," and Facebook user Brad Holmes is finding diamonds in the rough. A 5th-round pick for Okudah could be huge upgrade. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think because the Falcons pick is actually 7th or 8th. So the kid from Pitt is more of a Campbell guy than Carter.
Claudia Cansey.
He's a great player, but he's not an every down defensive tackle. He's just not. He's just really too undersized for that.
And this must be Steve Bauer. What's happening, JB? Welcome back to Flint Town. Yeah, I just think, I was on a podcast last night called Inside the Pigskin through the paper I write for with the South Florida Tribune. And we have Mel Farr Jr. on there. Everybody knows who Mel Farr is. And he actually said that because he lives in Georgia and watched Jalen Carter, he's a generational talent coming out of college. And you don't pass on a generational talent at 6. Mm-hmm. You can say this guy was good and this guy was great, this guy did this, but he said he specifically said he's a generational talent.
Oh, he is. Jalen Carter is the best player in this draft, right? Like pure talent wise, absolutely. Yeah. But that's why I'm not sure if Seattle will even pass on him.
I think
if they do, hey, run up to that podium.
And they also need linebacker help too, so that's why Will Anderson as edge.
I think if a trade doesn't happen, Will Anderson will go 3. Seattle is going to be in the mix for Terry Wilson and Carter.
And they need D-line help across it. Patty Grimes says, just get Carter an Uber. So why would Seattle pass on a generational talent at 5? They don't draft character issue guys.
Mm-hmm.
We used to not do that. But we have a different coaching staff, and Sheila is not her dad, and she wants to win.
Yeah.
And to be fair, teams pass up on talent all the time. I mean, they solicited to us, and he wasn't even supposed to be there.
He was supposed to go 5. DK came in with no shirt on. Oh, yeah, look at his guns.
Yes, agreed. Top.
Jalen Carter and McNeil would be a huge brick wall on the D-line. Absolutely. I mean, the nice thing about Jalen Carter is he can collapse the pocket. Kalijah Cansey can from the D end, but struggles against bigger guards and centers.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I almost can't hear you, Dan. It sounds all garbled.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Okay. He said I'll be back, so let me do this. I'll just take him out for a minute till he comes back. There he went. There, and Facebook user, which is Steve Bauer, says Sheila is not her dad. Thank God. That being said, our next topic is, for the first round, we have 2 picks, 6 and 18. Who are your top 3 wish lists? Wise Bearded Dad?
Top 3 for 6 and 18, or just in general?
Do 6 first, and then we'll do 18. We'll go around the horn.
Top 3 for 6. Obviously, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, then Tyree Wilson. Not necessarily all in that order. I think Tyree Wilson is going to be a lot better than what people realize. He's got the measurables. He's got the production in the Big 12. He's big, fast. He can play the run better than Anderson. Nothing against Anderson, but he's more of a pure pass rusher than what Jalen Carter, or not Jalen Carter, Tyree Wilson is. But that's my top three, obviously.
Okay. Keegan?
I kind of have the same right there. Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, and Tyree Wilson.
I'm assuming Will Anderson's gone.
Me too.
So that's why, for me, it's Carter, Tyree Wilson, Miles Murphy in that order at 6. It just, all three of those make sense. To me, at 6, a corner doesn't make sense.
No, I don't think so either.
Anderson, Carter, Wilson for Patty Grimes.
If Anderson's gone,
Brian Roy wants Skoronski at 6. I don't think he's
No.
there because he's more of a guard in the NFL due to his size. His
I would
arms
rather take
length.
Paris Johnson at 6 than Skoronski.
You draft what?
I would take Paris Johnson over Skoronski.
Yeah. That being said, what do you think at 18, Wise Bearded Dan?
At 18, depending how that first pick goes, I'm going to probably go another lineman, either defensive or offensive. I like Osiris Torres. I don't think he'll be there, but for Darnell Wright. Lastly, a corner, either Joey Porter Jr. or Cam Smith.
Okay. What do you think, Keegan?
18. It all kind of depends on our first pick, but my top three would be Torrance, a linebacker maybe, Simpson. Then if not, if a tackle's there, like a Broderick Jones or Darnell Wright, that's a win-win.
Okay, at 18, because I've seen Witherspoon go anywhere from 8 to 13. I've seen Porter go at 17 or lower. I'm on, if we get Carter, I could see us going guard and taking Torrance. If we went edge, you almost have to go D tackle at that point. And Cansey, I think, would be a fit. But I don't know if he's going to be a D tackle here in the end. I mean, he's 293. I mean, he's a little heavier than what Donald was coming out of college. He's a little longer arm. He had about the same amount of pressures. He had less sacks. Branch, CB, Torrance at 18. My CB that I want at 18 is Cam Smith. I've already said it. I think that's a great fit. I think it's perfect. He plays man and zone out of Syracuse. They did that hybrid defense. Or at South Carolina, excuse me. And
Him or Joey Porter Jr. would be phenomenal. Sorry to interrupt, Jeremy.
Yep, no problem. And my last one, and it isn't Behan Robinson because I see him going in the top 13.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go at 9 or he's going to end up at 10 to the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. I think
because with the Eagles losing Miles Sanders, I think they'll grab Behan Robinson.
Go to the Eagles or go ahead.
Okay. I'm right. They are 10, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 10 and 30. Correct?
Mm-hmm. No, not. Yeah, it's 30.
Yeah, because there's only
Steelers
31 picks because
31.
Miami doesn't have it. Miami doesn't have a pick this year in the first round.
Yeah.
And my dad comes in and says, hey. Speaking of dads, you guys go ahead and talk with the guys that come up. And the big kid from Baylor is a run stopper we need. And a second round pick possibly. Saika Ika is sliding. He's becoming closer to a third round pick. So he would be there. Nolan Smith has actually dropped to like the 38th to 40th prospect. There's a chance you could get him at 48 because people slide at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I've been paying attention to the big board movement. And Nolan Smith at 48, and if you need another edge / linebacker and one that's more of a pure linebacker that's played outside and inside, if you want that same speed, basically a 4-4 guy at linebacker, Owen Pepo. If the Lions trade down, I see them trading back with probably the Commanders, and that would be because Arizona stayed there, and either Anthony Richardson or Will Levis falls.
If we trade down, I think it'll be with the Titans.
You think it would be the Titans? They're what, 11 or which one's 11? Which one's 12? I know one's 11, one's 12.
Titans are 12. Because Houston's 11.
Oh, I know who it is that wants to be back.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the Eagles will want to trade up to 6 and get Carter.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, and you sound much better. He doesn't know
There you
no
go.
garble.
It wasn't
Yeah.
the freaking thing. It was my audio setting wasn't set up for the iPad mic.
Okay. What did you think about what I said about Okudah being traded? Does that make CB a bigger priority on day one?
Yes, it does.
I thought
Either-
so too.
Now, either Cam Sutton or maybe Brian Branch, the safety from Bama, who could play corner too.
Emmanuel Mosley says, I'm ready. Good to hear it, bud. I'm glad you're here.
What about if we don't go corner in the first round? Emmanuel Forbes with one of our seconds.
Emmanuel Forbes, the only thing I don't like about him, I like his height. I do not like him at 166 pounds. That's a guy that has to run around in the locker room shower to get wet.
Hi, Ken. How you doing, buddy?
Would you take a Philly trade of 10 and 30 for 6? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I would trade 30 to get future picks.
10 and 30 for 6.
Isn't that-
That's a lot they'd be giving up right there.
I would absolutely do that,
Maybe
especially if they wanted to. I would absolutely give up the 6 pick for the Eagles. They could take Carter and screw the Giants for years.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, but Forbes has a year to bulk up.
Well,
I
time
would,
out. That guy that just made that comment, I hope you sit on a cactus. And when you go to take a poop, I hope your finger pops through the toilet paper.
all right. You guys go ahead with 9 picks, package some picks, and move a bit up from 18 for Gonzalez or Witherspoon. That's a possibility too.
Yeah.
Jason Whitehurst, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're doing okay. I just asked your woman about you today because she messaged if I was at A1 still, and I'm not. But I have to take care of something for my stepdad. You guys handle the chat for a minute, and I'll be right back.
Wow, all that static's gone.
Yeah. Intense amount of static. Go on, Leonard.
I'm here. We don't need a DV. Emmanuel Mosley. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I didn't like the idea of trading Okudah.
I was fine with it. I didn't want to pay a backup, probably your 4th string cornerback, almost $11 million, just picking up that 5th-year option, and it just didn't make much sense.
Well, if you think about it, who drafted Okudah?
Patricia?
Quinn.
Yeah, Quinn.
Not even that. My whole thought on it was this. The beginning of the first half of the year, when you still had Aubrey Pleasant doing the defensive game planning, the guy was playing great. He was a shutdown corner most of the first half of the year. Then once they fired him and just let Aaron Glenn start calling it, he started calling more zone, and that's not Okudah's thing. If you play him primarily in man, the guy's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Atlanta will find out. But that's the other issue with Okudah, too. It's not like he's been healthy his entire career either.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
No,
Patty,
yeah.
between the 4th and after as quarterback. What do you guys think?
Fourth quarter. I don't know, because, I don't think they will. But at the same time, they did just bring in Stroud and Hendon Hooker for a visit.
Yeah.
And they had a ton of people down there scouting Anthony Richardson like 5 times.
Out of all the players, I don't want Anthony Richardson. He is the biggest boomer bust player, and it's like that 53% completion percentage scares the crap out of me.
He did have a very bad completion percentage, but look at his completion percentage when he was on the run.
Hey,
And he was
Mark.
playing with his 5th string wide receiver, so everybody else was hurt.
That top comment, Mark. Okudah's not the last player. We still have Romeo Okwara that was around with Quinn in
Julian
That's
Okwara.
right.
Romeo Okwara was drafted by the Giants and didn't sign with you guys.
Oh, that's right.
Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker.
I want to accept the O line.
Don't forget Quentin Cephas is still here.
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, the guy that can't stay healthy. And Richardson is too much of a project, is what one Facebook user says. One of the 5th round picks, maybe, for a QB. I agree, Wiseberry did. I don't want Richardson either. What I meant was Okudah was the last horrible mistake. I don't think he was a mistake. You have to remember, he only played a total of 20-some games, which isn't even too... And Jonah Jackson was a Bob Quinn pick as well. That good call, SJ.
Everyone else that was not on the O line can go from the Quintricia.
I think Cephas will be gone this year, especially if he can't make it through the preseason healthy.
Yeah, so at best, he's a preseason cut.
Mm-hmm. Mark, no. Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker from last regime bid, buddy. Yep, absolutely. So is Quentin Cephas, Julian Okwara. Trying to think. There's not much. Tracy Walker.
Yeah, Tracy Walker,
Yeah.
too. See
And
Walker being on the out. So,
Anzalone?
no.
Anzalone.
No, Angelo was brought in under Brad Holmes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most of it.
came the first year Holmes came.
Mm-hmm. But Okudah really didn't get a chance to be fully developed for a season even. You know what I'm saying? Because he got hurt mid-season again. He had the concussion. He was out for 2 weeks with that, and then he had 2 weeks from being sick. And when we came back, we had a scheme change. Prior to the scheme change, in the first 7 weeks, when we were doing 80% man and 20% zone, he looked great. He gave up 285 total yards and only 2 touchdowns in those 7 games.
Exactly. He's a man cover guy, and that's it.
And then when Pleasant was finally fired, we went to 65% zone. And by the time he came back after those 4 straight weeks of missing, he was lost. But guess what? He still did good. He was one of the highest ranked corners in run coverage. Period. That's why you only saw him on first down.
Yeah.
And Okudah will ball out in Atlanta now because they are predominantly a man coverage defense.
And now they probably have one
Until
of the
he-
best secondaries in football, too.
Until he clips the toenail, he's out for another 4 to 6 weeks.
And Emmanuel Mosley says Okudah will be Okudah in Atlanta. Yeah, and he'll be playing the 2, not the 1.
Yeah.
Because they got A.J. Terrell for the 1.
And they have, I think, Casey Hayward at the 3, or still hurt.
Mm-hmm. And they just got Jesse Bates. They are going to have one of the better secondaries, especially in the South.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dan, if you were at 6 as the Lions GM, what would be your wish list? 1A, 1B, 1C.
At 6. I'm taking a quarter. My first one, my wish list personally, I'd be taking a quarterback at 6. If Levis or Anthony Richardson are at 6, I'm taking either one of them. That's there. There's a reason behind it. Because they can both sit for a little bit, and you still have that 18 pick to pick a player that's going to contribute right now. You can develop that quarterback. You have the time to do that. And outside of those two, I want Will Anderson. I want nothing to do with Jalen Carter. I don't care how talented he is. He's got shit for brains.
Well, if you did you see he actually had cam footage from the cops when he was talked to, and the cam footage didn't look as bad as the paper writers made it out to be. What he said, he was young. You could tell it was the first time he's been in that particular situation with an accident, and he didn't run. He talked to the cop.
And he lied, though. That was the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I understand he lied, but it didn't look anywhere near as bad as it was made out to be in the papers originally.
And you never see him get out of that car to go check on his friend either.
No.
I mean, he probably could have been in shock, though, too, to be fair. But that's why I say, like, it's not as bad as the writers make it out to be, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if Seahawks take him at 5.
And absolutely, Facebook user, all kids lie to cops.
Except
They
for
do.
the goody two shoes.
No,
And
no.
that's why kids get freaking shot.
And shout out, we've had Emmanuel Mosley, and now we got Marvin Jones Jr. Welcome back. Agent Zero for the Lions this year. And JMO, all I know is as soon as the trade was happened, before the jersey could get cold, he claimed 1 for this season.
Yep.
Good for him.
Absolutely.
Don't the Lions play Atlanta this year, too?
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's playing the 2 and JMO's a 1, does this? And Carter didn't look drunk to me in the video, which was the rumor. Absolutely, Bo Gagrius. Replying to Facebook user, look at the kid from Terminator 2. That kid saved entries, the entire human race.
That's fair.
Oh, that's great.
Anyone see the Rich Eisen show that Dan Campo was on?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was working. What did he say?
He basically explained the reasoning why they traded Okudah. He said that we like the players that we have. Jerry Jacobs, I think I can't think of his name. Will Harris.
And we still have Chase Lucas.
Yes. I think he said that it was they traded him because we like the guys that we have. And if Will Harris and Jerry Jacobs have a breakout year, what do you do with Okudah?
Well, that, and it's like you're already much stuck paying a guy who's going to be, like, riding the bench most of the year, $11 million. It's a cap hit more than anything.
Well, it wouldn't have been $11 million this year. It would have been $11 million if they picked up the 5th-year option for next season. This year it was 5.6 against the cap.
I would have kept him at that. I don't care. That's just me.
That's what I said. I said I would have liked to have seen what he would have done in a second off season of actually working out.
And then not doing stupid zone coverage all the time.
And Facebook user says they are going to use that 5th rounder to move up in some round and package a move to move up. More than likely, DeAndre Swift in a 5th round to go to 4th round.
Yeah, I like that.
But if it's okay, let's say it's the mock and it goes down that top 5 like that. To me, if all 4 of those main quarterbacks are off, would you guys trade up to 3 for Will Anderson? No, because of what you'd have to give up. It's going to take a lot to move up 3 spots. We saw last year that one team moved up 2 spots. It cost them 2 firsts and 2 thirds.
Yep.
I'm not giving that up.
Put it this way. If I'm at 6, I can't trade back. Will Anderson and Carter are gone. I'm taking Tyree Wilson without question.
Yeah. If all 3 are gone, I could see a trade back scenario and we go Witherspoon.
Yeah, if all 3 are gone and there's a quarterback available for someone to trade up to, that's more likely, yeah.
That's why I think a trade back with the Titans, Devon Witherspoon at 11 or 12.
Yeah, I mean, if we traded back to there, that's not bad.
The only way the Titans would make that kind of a trade would be if one of the quarterbacks dropped to you guys.
Right, that's it. I mean, the better one to trade with, because they're going to want Behan, and they're going to probably have to get ahead of a team because they seem to be enamored with them, is the Eagles at 10 want to get Behan to replace Miles Sanders. So if that's the case, they're your trade partner for 6 to get ahead of Chicago. Because Ryan Poles loves Behan. He's like gushed over him in interviews.
That could all be a smoke screen too.
Hey, let him take a running back in the 1st round. That's not for me. I'm not a big fan of taking running backs early like that.
Same here.
I can see Chicago trading up for Will Anderson because they need a pass rusher.
Why would they trade up? They just traded the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
It's
They-
Chicago.
Right, they
They
traded
just,
the number 1 pick for an ass load of picks. Now you can move up, grab a piece that you need.
They could
the-
probably
they
stay
can
there and
move
get
up.
Miles Murphy.
I still like Will Anderson better than Murphy, though.
I don't even like Will Anderson more than Tyree Wilson.
Explain.
Bears won't move up. They'll either go edge or offensive tackle.
Facebook user, the Eagles have Zeke. Oh yeah, you know what they got? 3 yards in a cloud of dust. They got
Did they sign
the
Zeke?
second. Yeah, they signed Zeke.
Oh,
Did they? I don't think so. He was a finalist.
But let's say 5 rounds. So that means we got 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, and then 2 in the fifth, right?
2 in the 6 too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying 5 rounds, top 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Miami a couple years ago traded back, then up. I don't think Chicago could do it. How about Jamar Gibbs for a running back?
No.
you'd have to take him either in the late first or early second. I don't want to take a running back that high unless you're moving on from Swift.
In the second round, I don't want another second round running back. You know what's happened with every second round running back the Lions have drafted since 2000?
they've sucked.
Injuries.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I said.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're not available, you suck.
Exactly.
Gibbs will just be another Swift, but even better.
But yeah, Gibbs though he's interesting just because of his speed. I mean, he could come in and flat out replace what Swift does, and I think he'd probably be a lot healthier than Swift too. But you have to move on from Swift, so that means who's taking Swift's contract, who's taking Swift. It's a rookie contract, but still someone has to want to trade for him.
Bo Schembechler proud says 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Yep. Swift was our closest hit in the second round running backs. It's true. Javi Best was a first round, was great until concussions. Actually, was he a first round? I thought he was a second rounder.
He's a second rounder, I believe.
Yeah.
Abdullah.
And then Abdullah, yeah.
Was Zenner a UDFA?
Yes.
And then we got Bo from free agency.
Yep.
Why they traded Okudahs.
That being said, let's get into it. So let's say we're the GM at 6, the top 5. Let's say it goes Will Anderson at 3 and Carter at 5 for hypothetical. Correct?
Okay.
That's what it would be if there's no trades and the 3 teams that we think are taking a quarterback. And I don't care which one it is, because it's going to be Panthers take a quarterback, Texans take a quarterback, Colts take a quarterback.
Yes.
With the way the draft sits right now. So that means Tyree Wilson is sitting there at 6. But you have the Commanders on the phone because they want to draft whatever QB is not there.
I wouldn't.
I would.
I'd have to hear the offer.
I mean, like, let's say they're giving you 2 firsts a first this year, a first next year. And then they throw in either a 3rd or 4th rounder this year. And the same for the following year. 4 picks to move up those 5 spots.
I would do it for the 2 firsts.
Well, it looks like Tyree Wilson will not be a Detroit Lion at that point.
You could Carter.
If you can get Washington to give up 2 first-round picks like that, you can absolutely do that, because then you have enough fucking ammunition for next year to trade up for Caleb Williams and really develop a QB of the future.
Yeah. I don't think Commanders will trade up. They just
They are one of the 6 teams that have been talking to Arizona.
what? Really?
Yeah.
It was Titans, Commanders, Raiders, Bucks, Lions. There was another team in there, and I can't remember what it is right now, but they're a team that needs a QB. And believe it or not, it came out later Because of Carter, Philly.
I thought Rivera
teams.
came out and said, I thought Rivera came out and said that they're sticking with Howell.
Right, exactly, Michael Huck. That's what I'm saying is if you get offered multiple first-round picks and next year's draft is in Detroit, and you can have 2 first-round picks at home in Detroit, you know what you do? You take 2 first-round picks for the year that you draft.
In that situation, I'm going to try and get Lucas Van Ness, so I at least have some other edge over there.
Yeah.
Do you really need an edge as much as everybody's trying to make it out to be?
I don't think we do.
Hutch and you got James Houston. You're good there. You need an inside
James
linebacker.
James Houston every down edge.
No. He's a situational pass rusher. I get that. But Romeo Aquara is an every down edge.
Mm-hmm.
So is Julian Aquara while he's healthy. Correct?
And Houston can develop too.
And Houston could develop into one. What he has to learn is it's the hardest thing to teach somebody when they're a D end or a linebacker. It's change of direction skills for attacking running backs.
Mm-hmm.
That takes 2 to 3 years to get linebackers good at that.
It's called patience.
Yeah, you got to have patience. But Hutch is on the other side. We got rid of Brockers, the bump on the D line, thank God. We re-signed Kaminsky, so that's who's going to be swapping out when Hutch is off the field. And we still got Isaiah Buggs, Aleem McNeil, and the other one, too. And we still have Pascal. That's the every down player, Pascal.
Edge is people are saying that running back is a first round need. Edge is a first round need either.
I don't think Edge is either. I think we could, like at 50, is it 52 or 53 we got the second round, second rounder.
I don't think people realize what you guys actually got in David Montgomery either.
Oh, we got that. I love David. Oh, I love David Montgomery. Behind this O-line, he should thrive.
I would be surprised if he doesn't get 1,200 yards rushing this year, easily.
I mean, behind that O-line that's been trash, he's had 800 to 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons.
Uh-huh.
Jeremy, where do I see the Lions draft a QB? I think it's day 3 still.
I think it's the
But
4th round.
Here's
lower.
the thing. Somebody's not accepting any offers till after the draft. That's Teddy Bridgewater. And it's been rumored that the most lucrative offer is the Lions.
Mm-hmm. If we get Bridgewater,
if there's some sort of deal put in place that says, hey, I'm gonna come sign with you, because Holmes will know that if he wants to do it. And I think he'll get that decision prior to the draft, but it's after because remember that it has to be signed in the second free agent thing, which is a week after the draft.
Yeah.
You won't see him draft one. They'll grab a UDFA.
I'll say if we get Bridgewater and Holmes pulls a 180 and we draft a quarterback, I mean, Studfeld's out.
Well, it's a team-friendly deal that Sudfeld had. I mean, Sudfeld. But what he did do well was what he did with that surface on the sidelines with Jared Goff. He knows the playbook. He's there for familiarity and someone that can talk with Jared Goff. That's what he's there for. That's why we re-signed him. That was the only reason we re-signed him.
But yeah, I kind of agree. If Bridgewater's there and Holmes doesn't pull a 180, it's definitely a UDFA.
Mm-hmm. And Levi Onwuzurike is looking like he may not be able to return from his back surgery.
Yeah.
Yes, we went after a tight end, but it was not a top tight end.
Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft is just an okay middle-of-the-road tight end. I think we're going to stand pat with what we got and develop Mitchell and Wright a little more. And Zylstra came on strong in the red zone towards the end of the season, too. I think we're going to stand pat. If we take one, it'll be day 3. Quarterback and tight end, you can get good ones in the 6th round.
Or in the
Kraft is
3rd
kind
round,
of
you
like-
get Sam Laporta from Iowa.
We only have one pick in the third.
He's worth it.
Laporta? Isn't he from Iowa?
Yeah,
I
we've
would
had
not
our.
have tied in within the first 5 rounds.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Period.
No more Iowa tight ends.
They're all good.
And I'm not even necessarily Iowa tight ends. Just I wouldn't take a tight end in general in the first 5 rounds.
No, the 5th round is day 3, so I might start there. Might, but for me, okay. So let's say we get Tyree Wilson, but we don't trade back, right?
Okay.
And at 18, go ahead and either grab Cam Smith or Cansey, because both picks make sense with having an edge at the beginning of the round, right?
Mm-hmm.
2nd round, you're either taking Jack Campbell out of Iowa, the middle linebacker, or you're taking Drew Sanders with that first pick in the 2nd round at 48.
I was.
What if
I
Simpson
don't know
at
if I
that
would
second?
take Jack Campbell though. That 40 time kind of scares me a little bit.
Who?
That's Jack Campbell. I don't know if I would take him. That 40 time is pretty strong.
I'm looking at game tape. I don't care about the Pajama Olympics. The only thing I care about Pajama Olympics, Caleb Murphy.
I mean, I get that, but we had a previous player before where, we got told push play, watch the tape. We had Tease Taylor out at corner who was
but you're talking about a different regime. Different regime. We haven't seen that type of mistake out of Brad Holmes yet. So I'm not bringing those. Oh, Caleb Murphy out of Ferris State. Okay, he's decent. The guy that I kind of like that's flying under the radar for a mid to late round pick, if we do take a QB, is Jake Hayner, the guy that took over for Caleb, the quarterback. That kid's got grit. Look him up.
I like Tanner McKee. No one's talking about him, and it's like he's got a can for an arm. He's accurate. And he knows how to read defenses.
He's going to be a late 2nd, early 3rd. That's where he's going to fall. So I don't want to take a QB that early.
What about Clayton Tune?
Clayton Tune out of Houston, he's all right, but his mechanics are poor.
That's something that you can teach.
Yeah, but if you're drafting later, you don't want him to have poor mechanics. You'd rather have him have poor decision making because that's easier to teach and fix than mechanics.
That's you. He has a strong arm and can get out of the pocket when needed to. That's something that you need.
I don't think Max Duggan is going to get drafted. I think he'll be a UDFA.
He should have stayed.
I think
Stetson Bennett will be a UDFA.
Yep, Stetson Bennett. And if you're going to take a UDFA quarterback and you want athleticism, the guy that has it for days, he played for a Christian college in Division II. His name is Lindsey Scott Jr. Just look up his stats.
Yes.
What about DTR?
DTR is good, but he's probably going to end up going 3rd or 4th round because he's moved up because of his combine and the school he comes from, UCLA. There's certain schools that just garner picks in certain rounds for some reason, and I don't get it.
Especially Georgia.
Georgia's probably had, over the last couple seasons, the most players put into the NFL in the draft. And UDFAs. So relaxing knowing Holmes and company are going to draft dogs and most of the picks are going to hit. Right. I mean, what would you say? I'd say about 80% of the picks hit last year.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Chase Lucas, but other than that,
we saw Chase Lucas, but he got hurt.
Yeah.
But he was playing well. He damn sure had it. Think about it. That first game versus Aaron, if he wouldn't have dropped that one, it'd have been 4 picks.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the right place. It hit him in the hands. He was so mad. I remember that play vividly. He was just like...
Lucas and Pascal got hurt, but other than that, draft picks were good.
Well, we had guys that were hurt coming in. Pascal was hurt coming in, and he re-injured it because, to me, he did the same thing that we did with every player that's been hurt. for any length of time in the off season where they're rehabbing. And my dad, Smoking Dad, says, "I like your hat, bearded dad,
Oh yeah.
the flat brim." That being said, I'm going to give a shout out to my big sponsor right now, which is Gloss Negron. He is a window tinner for A1 Tire in Caucholin. He does a great job. I got my Michigan blue car with maize tint.
Woo.
It's only on the back half, but hey, I'll take it.
Business in the front, party in the back.
Yep. And yes, we are still live. What's a topic you want to bring up there, Wise Bearded Dad?
Honestly, offensive line prospects, because I think that's going to be a surprise pick that people don't realize it's going to happen a lot sooner. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're going to take Paris Johnson at 6, but that's one of those things you're not hearing a lot of. And that's usually, if you notice Brad Holmes, a lot of his like big picks, you just don't expect it. You didn't see it happening.
The top lineman that they're looking at is Torrance, Chandler Zavala,
And Darnell
Antonio
Wright.
Matthews.
And Darnell Wright.
Antonio Matthews.
Yep. Okay. At 18, if they take a tackle, it'll probably be Darnell Wright. If they go guard, it's Osiris Torrance at that point because he'll be the best guard on the board because I think Skowronski will be gone before that.
I would almost trade up for Darnell Wright, though, just because, like, if you look at his tape, there's video of him out there actually shutting down Will Anderson.
I know.
He is mean, and that's what I want in an offensive lineman.
But I think at 18, that's where an offensive lineman will happen, if it happens.
If you go tackle, what will happen? He's a tackle sitting on the bench. What will happen to Decker?
And Decker still has, I think, 2 years left on that last extension he just did because he just had his 5th year 2 years ago, and he signed a 3 or 4 year extension. It was a 4-year, wasn't it?
Let me look.
I think he's through.
2 years left.
He signed it in the 22 season, or 21 season, but his 5th year option was last year.
Free agent in 2025.
Yeah, so we got him for 2 more years.
Yeah.
So
that's why I
counting
think
this year is 2 more years.
This is 2023, 2024, then 2025 season. He signed.
But you can move on to
probably in 2024.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to make the point earlier. Like, if with the Penei Sewell's 5th year option coming up, you're going to have to pay him. You can't pay to keep Decker. He'll be 31. If you get an offensive tackle early, you can groom him at right guard, then slide him over to right tackle. Both Paris Johnson and Darnell Wright have played right guard, and you can easily make that transition to right tackle.
Well, don't forget, we just signed Glasgow, too. Vitae restructured, so we're not getting rid of him. But he's voidable.
1 year deals, though.
Yep, he's void. No, his was he had 3 years left on his contract, and he restructured, or 2 years left, and they restructured it again. But it made it so they can clear him next year.
So the guards under contract is Glasgow, Vitae,
And Jonah,
and Stenberg.
I thought we cut Stenberg earlier in the season, but that's
Nope.
earlier in the
Um,
offseason. I mean, but
That's
that's
I
for,
don't see Stenberg making it.
yeah. I don't think
Or if
Stenberg's
you're offensive line high.
or if we get a hybrid guy that plays all across the line, like Neil Brokers in the 5th round, somebody I've talked about a lot. Another guy I like at guard, and I'll say it again, is either Torrance at 18 or at 48, Steve Avila out of TCU.
Steve Avila's good, too, because he can also play center, and he's real good at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of got that we need.
But Neil Brokers,
Neil
Brokers at Mississippi State, he's played every position but center. He's played left tackle, left guard, right guard. I like him because he's 6'6", 340 pounds with 39-inch arms.
With the type of run first offense they're trying to have, you need a refrigerator like that.
Mm-hmm. But Saika Ika, there's been reports of him being lazy and taking games off. There's a difference between a guy having 3 bad games in a 13-game season. And Oluwatimi,
Oh,
he
yeah.
will be a second or third rounder. And at the third round, if Oluwatimi's there, I wouldn't mind him there. And let's say at 55, because Mozzie Smith is sliding down the boards.
Mhm.
If Mozzie Smith is there at 55 and you've gone edge and corner or edge and O-line, you take Mozzie Smith.
Absolutely.
He's coming off an injury.
Say what?
That's fine.
Smith is coming off an injury. The only thing he could do at combine was the bench press.
That's fine, though. I don't need him to start day one because you have Bugs and McNeil still that you can kind of rotate a little bit.
And the
Kaminsky. And the commish. But with Mozzie, he's 340 pounds. He's coming in and stuffing that run game, which is what you need.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, guys, we've been on for... I'm thinking they might go QB at 6, and I hope not. I don't think... Hey, y'all, Mozzie Smith is slipping now? Yes, Mozzie Smith has slipped to a mid to late second rounder. I think he's coming in right now as the 47th prospect, which means he could be there at 55.
With him sliding, all these receivers are
moving up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I like? Here we go. Let's go through this now. Okay, let's say we go Tyree Wilson. Let's say we go Cam Smith. We take one of the linebackers at 48, and Mozzie Smith is there at 55. You take.
I don't know if I would be able to wear pants after
that. I already said if we did.
That's the defense, man.
Do you know what I said? If we did Jalen Carter and then got Cansey 2 at 18, I'd go streaking. Could you see that? A guy that can play inside and outside, and then a guy that is strictly a pass rushing DT and a run stuffer at the same time. Thanks, Dad. Good to see you.
6, though, I would almost want them to draft an offensive lineman at 18, just because it seems like the whole mindset of the Lions is like, we're going to be really strong in the trenches, and they're actually standing by it. So if you got like Osiris Torrance or Darnell Wright at 18 with Jalen Carter, you're going to dominate the interior against teams.
Mozzie Smith falls to our first second. I'm grabbing him. Well, you got to look at who's there in between 48, and it's only 3 picks that you got to wait for. Mm-hmm. If those teams went defense in the first round, they're going offense in the second round because not James Burgess draft Ryan Leaf. Oh yeah, yeah. That's how I feel about people that say they draft Richardson.
Or Behan Robinson.
Oh no, I think Behan Robinson is a first-round talent, but I just don't like him going into a situation that we have right now with having David Montgomery and Swift still. Unless he's packaged, no, I don't want him. That's just
I just don't value the running back position that highly because, I mean, what ruined it for me, really, the eye-opening thing was you remember a few years back when the Cowboys had their all-pro offensive line and they had DeMarco Murray leading the league in rushing. DeMarco Murray ended up going to Tennessee afterwards and just was it was a dumpster fire. You don't have to have a top-of-the-line running back. You just have to have the guys in front of him to make the holes.
Right, and that's what we got right now. Look at this. Wait, let's think about this. We've had 34 games in the last 2 seasons where we have not had our starting offensive lineman on the ground.
Yeah.
34 straight games.
And that's just
what we ranked in the top 15 in year 1, and we ranked in the top 5 in year 2.
And now we actually somewhat have a guy at running back with Montgomery.
Just realized Swift is a free agent next year.
Yeah, I understand. O-line won't make me upset, but I'm just going in my convoluted mind. If we took Tyree Wilson, Cam Smith, Steve Avila, and Mozzie Smith. Mm-hmm. Then in the third round, if you wanted to double down at corner or safety, you take one there because another guy that's slipping that I like a lot, and he has a great RAS score, is Antonio Johnson, safety out of Texas A&M. I like his size. He's 6'3" and over 210, and he's fast.
That's if
Him, and then there's
That's
that
if
guy
he's
from
there,
Boise,
remember?
J.L. Skinner. I don't know if he'll be there in the third round, though.
JL Skinner's been dropping like a bad habit because he didn't have that great of a combine and he didn't look good at his pro day.
that's if Antonio's there, because I've heard the Bills are interested too.
Right. Ryan Leaf, that man knows everything about football now. He knows everything about Peyton Manning, I'm sure. Then, in the third round, like I said, you go that safety route because we're going to need depth. We've had people hurt at every position in safety room.
Is Tracy Walker supposed to be back for the start of the season?
He's trending good. I've been following him on Twitter, whatever. Third round, double down at DB is cool, but we could also use a Stromberg. Stromberg is slipping too. He's like a 5th rounder. So let me finish, James, because we got 2 5th-round picks now. So you take that safety, you shore up the secondary there, got that done. You already got your linebackers. You already got all that stuff up front, right? The 5th round, at the beginning, you take Bryce Ford Wheaton out of West Virginia, 6'3", 225 pounds, runs a 4.3840, ran a 4.32 at his pro day. A big guy with speed and hands? Come on. And route running. The kid from TCU, and the Jamie Johnson from FSU, like, wow.
As far as linebackers, though, I wouldn't be upset if they doubled down on linebacker with one of the guys later in the draft being Dorian Williams.
Yeah, Dorian Williams out of Tulane. That's where I was going with the pick after Bryce Ford Wheaton. And then you still got 2 picks. And
he is a stud.
And don't forget, we only have 8 picks into the 6th round before we pick again because of that Denver pick.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, that's where you grab. All right, 6th round. Who are you thinking? Right at the top. And let's say they don't go QB because the deal is Bridgewater right after the draft.
If he's there, I don't know if he is because I've heard he's going up a little bit, but Coots from Old Dominion, the tight end, was like 6'8", 250, 260, right around there. I see him at the top, and he's from that Old Dominion's a smaller school, but big target guy, can run block a little bit. I mean, he's not as good as Washington, but 6'8". How do you cover that?
He's been moving up to the 5th round lately, but yeah, 6 is usually where he falls.
Eric Gray in the 5th?
Eric Gray. That's exactly what I was thinking in the top of the 6th round. You take Eric Gray, running back out of Oklahoma. He just go watch his game film. He is the best all-around running back. There's just something about that kid. I love it. And maybe because he comes from one of those Oklahoma schools, and we did pretty good getting those guys. You had Billy Sims and Barry Sanders out of Oklahoma schools.
Stetson Bennett has been talked because he's too old and he's not going to get drafted.
Yeah, Stetson Bennett will be 26 before the preseason starts.
Well, that's what people are saying about Hendon Hooker, but he's like a 2nd round.
Yeah, he'll be 25. He's sliding into the 1st round because the team that I think is going to take him is the Bucs at 19. If they can't trade up, they're going to take Hendon Hooker.
If not, or Seattle at 20.
Or the Ravens if that stuff with Lamar doesn't get figured out.
Well, it's figured out because with them signing OBJ, and let's bring that up for a minute. Here's a good one for you. OBJ signs a 1-year, $15 million contract after signing bonuses. It's actually only a $5.6 million hit. But with his incentives, he could make up to $18 million. Guess what the entire Lions receiving corps, including practice squad, all 8 of them equal?
14.
$14.5 million.
That's
Because
all that.
they're either bums or on rookie contracts. That's of course how it's going to be.
All the receivers.
I can't believe they paid Odell that kind of money. I'm sorry, but I'm not paying a guy who maybe will play 10 games that kind of money.
It's funny you say that. when it broke, and we talked about it on the Sports Exchange or on the Inside the Pigskin last night while Melfar was there. I got the over under at 10 before he's injured, and they said 10. I said, yeah, 10 steps off the plane.
He's gonna. Or that was gonna be the Joe Biden memes falling down the stairs.
Gerald Ford. I like Aiden O'Connell too, but I'm saying
Yeah.
let's assume that Bridgewater's coming to the Lions in the second free agency. OBJ has dirt on somebody.
Okay. All jokes aside on that OBJ thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Other than coming off the injury, he's getting mid-tier wide receiver money. That's it.
Yeah, he's getting wide receiver 2 money.
What did they give DJ Chark last year? $13 million?
10.
Same thing.
Not the same.
It's the same
That's like that's $3 million. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Not really.
And it was
Cap went up as much as
it didn't push our cap up though because it was a futures contract that we signed him to. It was spread out over 3 years. He was only $3.3 million cap hit a year.
Well, look at the Ravens receiving corps: Bateman, OBJ, and Aguilar.
You
All
know
right.
what? The wide receivers in Baltimore don't matter. Your running back, Lamar Jackson as the running back, and your tight ends are the only thing that matter there. And they have 2 of the better tight ends in the entire league.
Not a fan of O'Connell. Andrew Merklinger, I'll tell you what exactly what I think of Aiden McConnell. He's Jared Goff with more athleticism. Go watch his game film. It's just like watching Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And he's got a killer mustache too.
Yeah, he's got the men show porn stash.
That alone is a reason to like take him as a UDFA at the latest, you know.
But that being said, I'm gonna give my parting shot, like I always do. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. This has been Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. I want to say thank you to Wise Bearded Dad, Kneecap Villain Keegan, and of course Dan the Man Leonard.
So
Stay wise, stay bearded.
Have a great evening. And you know what?
spay and neuter your kids.
Oh, that's fine. You can say that, you little bastard.
Read that. Read that name. Kneecap Villain. Lions